Welcome back to the FanSpeak Network and another episode of Sibling Showdown. This is I guess you could say the Wildcard Weekend edition. We're covering everything in this episode. We are going to do a playoff best ball draft because Steve and I have been ripping tons of playoff best ball drafts. So we did decide not to do a separate show. We're just going to lump that into the whole wildcard theme. We are going to do a battle royale for the Wildcard Weekend, of course, on Underdog Fantasy as well. And then we are going to quickly jump over to DraftKings, look at just a quick early look at the Saturday slate, Sunday slate, but then tune into FanSpeak for articles on tomorrow and Saturday for, the short slate survey for Saturday, short slate survey for Sunday. Of course, we'll have NFL betting card up, all free on fanspeak.com. And of course, while we jump over to Underdog, if you're new to Underdog, be sure to use code FANSPEAK for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. These playoff drafts are so fun. Now I'll bring in my brother, Steve. How are you doing? I know you're as excited as I am for what, it's sad when the season ends, but playoffs are so fun in the NFL. I know you're as excited as I am for Wildcard Weekend and all this action we get to do. So tell me how you're doing and how you're doing with your best ball drafts.
Yeah, no, obviously with the new format we've had these last couple of years, only one team having to bye, it makes things really interesting and spread out over 3 days with the Monday night, Monday night hammer for when we talk about the full 6-game slate and all that. So it makes things really interesting. And, a lot of injuries to monitor, obviously. Some teams are obviously regretting playing some of their players week 18, Sam Laporta, some of the Eagles. So just, a lot of things to keep an eye on. But yeah, just a lot of ways that you can get some action down with either the full best ball format or like the Underdog
Battle Royale,
Battle Royales, and of course the regular DraftKings DFS slate. So yeah, it's just really interesting. A lot of good games, a lot of fun players to hit your wagons to. These are a lot of top quarterbacks, but also there are some value plays there that we can find also. So yeah, it's just fun to have. These are the teams, and we're not worried about any of these teams with. I know we have a few backup quarterbacks in these playoffs, but we're not worried about some of these like really, really bad offenses that we've had to endure playing through, week in, week out these last couple months.
The end of the season. Yeah. Well, with that, I'm going to bring over Underdog, and we are going to do a mitten, which is the $5 contest. Now there's, obviously different price points. The original gauntlet, $25 filled up. They now have a gauntlet 2 open. They have different price points, but the mitten is the $5 contest. And this one's really unique because they give the advance rates here. So half of the, you're in a pod of 6 people. So if you haven't done playoff best ball, I'll give you a quick hitter. You are drafting on Underdog with you and 5 other people. So it's a 6-person pod, 10 rounds. You're doing quarterback. So 10 rounds, 5 starting positions, quarterback, running back, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex. The goal is to make it all the way to Super Bowl round, advance all the way to Super Bowl round. As they said, that's where all the money is, and that is true. So the nice thing about this is, as you can see, the advancement structure is right there. So 3 of 6 advance out of the first round, but then it's 1 of 10 to a 279 final. And this mitten top prize is $20,000. So the strategy to get there makes it interesting because on Underdog, it is, elimination round by round, as I just mentioned. So you can't just stack up 49ers and Ravens and not cover wildcard week. You have to make sure you have 5 starters wildcard week and potentially more to make sure that that you're going to get 5 good starters to push your team through. So that's the tricky, there's so much nuance to it, but basically you want to stack it so that you're covered for the Super Bowl from kind of who you think is going to represent the AFC, NFC, or maybe you make a big stand on an NFC team and bring back a couple AFC pieces or vice versa. But again, if you're taking some 49ers and Ravens, you've got to make sure you're covered for wildcard weekend. So that's the quick summary. Playoff best ball is so fun. And what is interesting about it is if you do it correctly, there are a lot of dead lineups out there. Dead lineups meaning that these teams aren't built well for the first week. They aren't built well for the to make it far in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. So, you can do well. You just have to do it really smart. And it's really hard, but really, really fun. So we're going to do it live here and have some fun with it, talk through it as we draft a mitten. So I'm going to enter and we can talk through. So Steve, I know you and I have drafted a bunch together. We're waiting on two people. I obviously think it's going to be 49ers, but I think, Dallas could make a push. So I'm playing it mostly from the NFC side. Like it could be 49ers or Dallas representing the NFC. I'll take some shots on other teams, but obviously that's the way I like to play it the most. And then I'm basically fading the Eagles. I know you're not as bullish on me as fading the Chiefs, but I'm not really drafting a lot of Chiefs. I need to bump off the Dolphins because I was high when playoff best ball started. Now they're just decimated by injuries. So, the AFC, I could see really anybody representing it, which was why I should probably be a little more open to the Chiefs. But you do have to make kind of stands on it like this. And then it really depends on your draft position. So like if you get the first position, you're probably going to take McCaffrey. If you get the second, Lamb goes. At the third and fourth, it's usually Lamar and Allen. So as you see, we've got the fifth pick here. So it'll most likely be McCaffrey, Lamb, Lamar, Jackson, and Josh Allen will be gone. So that takes away our Ravens stack. That takes away our Josh Allen stack. Because, oh, by the way, when you get a quarterback, you got to go kind of all in on that team. Did I do a good job of summarizing? And what are your other favorite teams to stack up? No, we're going to start here in 5 seconds.
Yeah. So no, overall, I think you summarized it well. I think the one thing here that we can make the decision at the fifth pick. Usually, people would take Debo. We could take Purdy here and just say,
I do that and force it.
This is who we believe the quarterback will be, and we'll still likely get, Ayuk or Kittle to pair with, and that way.
Because if it goes the 4 players that I said, then that leaves Purdy and 3 49ers, so they can only take 2 in between us. So you'll definitely be left with a 49ers stack. So that's why I like taking Purdy there, even though then you miss out on Debo. Yeah. Potentially miss out on Debo. Yeah. So far it's gone. It was reverse order, but it went Lamb, McCaffrey, Allen, Jackson. Sound like country song. So we're up. Do you want to go ahead and take Purdy then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I've been doing with I get the fifth pick.
And you're still going to have to take a second quarterback, obviously, for that wild card week. But at least now you're not relying on it to be a guy for the playoffs. It can just be a one-week guy.
So it did go Debo, Ayuk in between. So I'm going to take Kittle. And so what you do now with this, I can't draft a bunch like I typically do or queue a bunch, but I typically queue up a bunch of the team when it's there. Now, basically all the 49ers starters are gone, McCaffrey, Purdy, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. We did get the Purdy Kittle stack. And also note on Underdog, if you're new to it, wide receiver, tight end are a combined position. So you don't have to have a separate tight end like other formats. So now I think we should start queuing up just AFC teams, basically. And then, we can get Elijah Mitchell later. So I'm just going to kind of queue up AFC players at each position. And if there's any you see that I'm missing, just yell them out. But I mean, you can also, take a late round like NFC guy. It doesn't have to be exclusively, but I like doing that just to kind of focus on that. I mean, you could also go on 2 or 3 major stands. Like I think it's going to be, especially in this one, 49ers and another NFC team. And then, because you can only get like, 3 49ers, even if you got like Elijah Mitchell, and then, another, and then make a big stand on one AFC team. There are different ways to approach it. It's just, again, you just have to make sure you're covered for the Super Bowl. And so that's why you do, regardless, one way or another, need to make massive stands. So again, if there's anybody else that I'm missing, just let me know, but I'm just kind of queuing AFC teams right now.
I think you missed a couple at the top.
Yeah, I totally did. And, a lot of note, Dolphins were going earlier, Bills were going later. Now Bills are going much higher. Dolphins are going later. It's just kind of the nature of what's happened.
And the other thing with this, with going 49ers, is, well, we are queuing some Ravens. You can't take too many Ravens because, again, you need to have at least 5, and they need to be good enough 5, and one of them has to be a quarterback to get through.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Okay, so we're coming up.
we're up.
Hill is still there, and Pacheco.
I'd
I
take
can't believe how
Pacheco.
far Hill's been following, but where do you want to go here?
I'd take Pacheco.
Go ahead and say why you feel that way.
Yeah, I just think one, he's just seen a massive amount of volume of late. Looks to be back healthy. Dolphins defensive line is pretty banged up. The interior is still pretty solid,
So
but
are you with taking Pacheco, you feel like Dolphins are going to lose this week, basically, right?
I think they still have a chance, but yeah, I mean, you have to like the Chiefs at home in the cold weather. Yeah.
Okay, so I think you play it like that. I'm going to take Amari Cooper here, cute at the top,
Yeah.
AFC receiver. And so we started Purdy, Pacheco, Kittle, Cooper. Because again, we
I
don't
like
have
that.
Kittle for the first week. And again, we'll need a quarterback too. So yeah. So again, you do need to be thinking through now. Again, if you had a situation like, let me give Dallas from the same conference, say you got a huge Dak stack, you could run it back with just a piece or two from Dolphins. But with this, we're only going to get 3. So you kind of need to make a stand on a few teams. And if you're making a stand on Chiefs, then you're not making a stand on the Dolphins,
Yeah.
so that's how you have to play it. And each draft could be different. There could be another draft where you make a stand on the Dolphins and then you wouldn't be making a stand on the Chiefs. Same with the Rams and 49ers. And that's, again, if you're running it back with multiple teams. If you, again, get 5 of one team and want to just have a couple pieces, then sure, you can get a piece here, a piece there, even though they're playing each other. But no, you're going to lose one of them, obviously. So you do want to optimize as much as possible for each round. But I've done some like that if I just want to make sure, because you do want to advance too out of the first round, and make sure you have a strong enough team to advance out of the first round. So I think we got two of my favorite players on the wildcard slate, honestly, in Pacheco and Cooper. Obviously I don't have these in order. They're just based on running back and receiver right now, but we're coming up I'll pull up the board really quick. So yeah, after we took Kittle, it went, just so people see, Amon-Ra, Steph Diggs, Mahomes, Dak got with Lamb. So you can see they built a Cowboy stack, and they got Cooks, Brandon, Rashee Rice, Kelsey, James Cook, Zay Flowers, Pacheco, Tyreek Hill, Pollard, Cooper. And so we are up in 2, and we'll be up at 29 and back at 32. So what are you thinking here, Steve? Do you want to build out we could build out another NFC thing, with like a Stafford later if you wanted to do like Cup, or we could get Njoku, because a lot of the running backs are further down. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd get in Njoku.
Okay. And get that second piece of the Browns.
Yeah.
Okay. If Cup's still here, I think it's fine to build out 2 NFC kind of mini stacks.
Yeah, no, that can work because the 49ers, you're never going to go super deep.
You can never get, you can, A, they play the first week, B, you're going to get dust balls if you go past. I mean, we're already going to get, Elijah Mitchell as our third, to attempt to get Elijah Mitchell as our third. All right, so let's see what they do. I vote to go Cup here if to have another really solid, wild card piece, number 1, because it's not like I'm in love with them more. I mean, again, you kind of we made a stand against the Dolphins. So I kind of vote Cup here, and then we can target Stafford. What do you think? Or Stafford or Flacco? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I said, we only need 1 week of that.
Yeah, right. So I queued up both of them as well. So it's just players to watch. I'm just trying to look at ADPs about who to take where. Okay. So looking at the board again. So if you see, we've got 2 49ers. The goal will be to get 3 with the running back of Elijah Mitchell. We'll look for that. And then we already have 2 Browns. And then we have 1 Chief. So we should queue up, I know later Chiefs are kind of, dusty and stuff, but we should probably see what Chiefs we could grab later since we already have another Chiefs player. So what would be that's nice here. You can just kind of queue it up based on typing it in. So I guess it'd be Justin Watson, or like Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Hardman, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay. All right. So coming up we'll be up at 41 and 44. Just looking at the ADPs, I mean, you could go further in on the Browns and get Jerome Ford. I don't know if he'll still be there. Nope, he just went. You could get a piece of the Ravens, but you really can't build out a full Ravens stack. So I don't think we bother with that. And then you've got a Bills piece, a Dolphins piece, a Ravens piece that I had queued up. Again, the Chiefs pieces will be later. So I don't know. Do you take Elijah Mitchell here just to get it, or the quarterback here? Like, you take a quarterback and Elijah Mitchell in this like grouping just to have Elijah Mitchell and that second quarterback? That's what I was thinking. Do you go quarterback first or Elijah Mitchell?
I would take Elijah Mitchell.
Okay, so we have the third 49er piece with Purdy, Kittle, Elijah Mitchell, and that's in each position group, which is very key too. So then we'll be up in 2, and we're either going to take Flacco or Stafford. I don't mind either one. You have Stafford, Flacco already built out. Yeah, but I'm fine with either. What do you want to do?
Yeah, Flacco obviously offers the theoretical upside that you could potentially have 2 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, which is intriguing. But Stafford, I think, is just as good in a high passing environment as he goes against Detroit.
Okay,
but I would go Flacco just because the upside of the quarterback combo.
Yeah,
in the Super Bowl.
Right. So you do have a potential if the Browns 49ers met that you have 2 quarterback options in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because Stafford would potentially maybe wouldn't face, if they advance, maybe wouldn't face the 49ers until the championship week if Tampa advances also. But
no, if Tampa advances, that's
right. Then the Rams
they would face 49ers no matter what.
Face the 49ers.
So they likely will face. Yeah. So that's another good point. You have to think, who would they face next? And sometimes you don't know based on seeding, like Steve just said, but in this case, you kind of know if Rams advance, they're going to face the 49ers.
No, that's
because I mean, we obviously don't think Packers are going to beat the Cowboys. So, okay. Why is Waddle still there? Just out of curiosity, just because of the injury?
Yeah, I think the injury, they said he's questionable today.
Okay, how many picks do we have? Okay, we only have 2 picks left. I was going to say we need to get the Chiefs player just to build out a second. Because so if we built 3 Chiefs 49ers and we built 2 Browns, of other positions outside of Flacco, then we need a second Kansas City player. So that has to be a priority. Hardman just went. I mean, Waddle is just falling value. But do you think we also need another running back?
I would take another running back just to, just.
Do you want to take Watson here just to get it done, and then we can take just a?
Yeah, we can just take Watson here and just see what's available.
All right, so you have Waddle at falling value. I mean, David Montgomery kind of whatever goes against Cooper Kupp. Only one of them advanced, but it gives you kind of another option, and somewhere then you'd either have a little more in the receiver column or the running back column. So, do you go David Montgomery here, or is there anybody else that you like?
I'd go Montgomery.
Okay, I like that. Okay, so again, you just like DFS Short Slate Showdown, you just want your lineup to tell a story, and ours did. It is much harder when you stack up the Ravens and 49ers because you do just need to make sure you're covered Wildcard Week, and it's actually the hardest stacking the 49ers, which we did do. I mean, we only got 3 because they are so hard to stack because they go in the first 2 rounds, as you can see. They are basically all the starters are gone when we took Kittle at the 8th spot. So that's why it's so hard to stack the 49ers, but we did, and we brought it back with 2 AFC teams. Let me find this, and we'll go back to the draft. We brought it back with 2 AFC teams. So we have Brock Purdy, obviously Elijah Mitchell, George Kittle, and then from the AFC, we have Joe Flacco, Amari Cooper, David Njoku, and then for the Browns, and then Kansas City, Pacheco, Watson. So you have 3 and then 2 and 2 options to bring back because you have 5 starting positions. And then we're filled in with, David Montgomery and Cooper Kupp. And yes, only one of those will move on, but I think that's okay. Yeah. So yeah, we did a 2, 3, 5 build. Final thoughts, Steve, and then we'll jump over and do a battle royale. Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Any final thoughts, and then we'll do a battle royale.
No. I think that is the best way to do the 49ers. And, as tempting as Debo is, I'd much rather have the quarterback side of it than, just because I feel like these top 4 quarterbacks, Allen, Lamar, Purdy, and Dak, any which way you cut them, they're the most likely to be in the Super Bowl. And end of the day, you need a Super Bowl quarterback. So.
Exactly. That is the most important thing. Yes, exactly. So, okay, well, we're going to head over and jump in right into a battle royale. And the battle royale is, as you know, we've been doing them weekly on here. Usually it's a full slate. Now we're doing the 6-game wild card slate. So I'm going to go ahead and enter it, and we can talk through the nuances of this slate. So obviously we have 2 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday, and then 1 game Monday night, Philly at Tampa. I know for me, and you agree, we absolutely love the Dak stack, love the Detroit Rams game. And I really like the Houston Cleveland game, especially the Cleveland side too. As other pieces, like I really like Pacheco, stands out to me as a good running back piece. Those are kind of some of the things that obviously Bucks have looked terrible of the past 2 games, but they have a absolute get right spot against the horrible Philly defense. I do like the Bucks passing game, especially Mike Evans. So that's my brain dump of my thoughts and priorities. And as you can see, it kind of reflects here with Lamb being the first one. Then you of course got the 2 guys from the LA Detroit game, and that kind of stuff. Amari Cooper is not far down. So with all that said, any follow-up thoughts on that as we wait for the draft to start?
Yeah, no. I think Kyren Williams, you got to love his volume overall, but it's a tough matchup. So I do like prioritizing receiver in the first round. Mm-hmm. I think there's a chance that no running back is super great spot. I think you can make a case anyone, kind of gets those 20, 25 points. Like could be, a James Cook, could be a Najee Harris, could be Isaiah Pacheco. You're really tough to say who it's going to be this week.
Okay, well, with that, we now know our pick.
I want one of these receivers, yeah.
Okay, that's what okay. So you basically, well, I was going to say, would you prioritize a Dak over it or no, since you're not getting Lamb? Or you like some other quarterbacks?
No, because I think quarterbacks deep enough also, either quarterback from the Detroit game. I think Flacco, like you said, Baker could go off. I know Hurts is hurt, but if he's playing from behind, we know he can run. Tampa secondary has been just as terrible, so I mean that could be a shootout game. That could be a massive shootout game.
Yeah. Okay. So as expected, it went Lamb number 1. And so you just say kind of take the best available receiver.
I would put Cooper and Nuka above Hill because I think their spots are just so great. And
wait, did I unqueue somebody? Oh, I unqueued. Okay, yeah. I was just confused. Okay, so I say Amari Cooper. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, I mean this is the game that he went off for, 200 some yards and 3 touchdowns. Yeah, exactly. So now Puka's still here. I'm all aboard.
Or Cooper Kupp, either one. You could just be done.
Yeah, cue him up as well. We'll get one of them if we want. So there's that, and then Pacheco. It would be the only other option. So what between those would the Rams receivers, which when Puka's gone, it's Kupp's there. So is it Kupp or Pacheco for you?
Oof. That's tough. I like Kupp.
Okay. So we've kind of locked in our 2 starting receivers. I like that.
I also think you can go 3 receiver here.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a week where I absolutely think you could go 3 receiver. It's loaded. So we back up at 17 and 20. And then this sets us up perfectly for Flacco or Stafford.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously Mike Evans will probably be gone, but you got to love his spot. And then, there's guys further down that you could certainly make a case for as well. But what other running backs did you want to queue up while I have this pulled over? And then, we can also
for
go.
sure, White.
I was just queuing up. Okay. Yep. Yeah, because Pacheco just went. So I like the White call. Go ahead. Anybody else?
I mean, Jones, Pollard, Cook. I think you're all fine.
Okay. Yeah, we might not need to go if we only get one running back.
Yeah.
So we'll be up again at pick 17 and 20. It looks like we can wait on quarterback, but then we wouldn't be back up till 29. So we might want to take a quarterback if we really want these two at I don't know. It's up to you. But with the first pick, did you want to go like Rashad White?
I would. I think we've also seen lately running backs just absolutely smash. Philly as well.
Oops, I just clicked the wrong thing. What happened? Okay, running back Rashad White. I'm on the struggle bus. Sorry. Okay, we got Rashad White. So we have Rashad White, Amari Cooper, Cooper Kupp. Love that start because not just is Philly a bad pass defense, they're just a bad defense. So question, Steve, is here, do we go, obviously like a tight end, Njoku's gone. Where did he just go? Yeah. Njoku's gone, like a tight end or one of these other receivers, or you could go another running back or like Flacco Stafford. I kind of say Flacco Stafford and just be done with it, but maybe one would fall back to us. Let's see really quick how many. Yeah, only 2 of the 6 have taken quarterbacks so far, and somebody else did take Puka. And someone else took Njoku. So thoughts? 10 seconds.
I mean, I'm fine going quarterback here.
Okay, Flacco or Stafford?
I don't have a preference. I would go Stafford, but
I think we got it in time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We did Flacco on our. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just like Stafford. I think going home to Detroit, I think he's going to have a lot of motivation and Detroit secondary. We saw Nick Mullins, tear them up twice in the last couple weeks.
That game is just set up to be I think it's everybody's favorite game to watch this weekend, and that game is just set up to be a massive shootout. So Tyler said on the betting show that we just did, check that out on the FanSpeak Network, that there's a special on FanDuel, 120-1 Stafford or Goff to throw for 500.
I mean,
in that game, it could happen. 107-1. Throw a couple bucks on it for fun. Okay, so we have Stafford, Kupp, stack. We have Stafford, Rashad White, Amari Cooper and Cooper Kupp. It's hard to say. Love it. So we will be up at 29 and 32. We need a tight end and a flex. So why don't we start queuing?
Ferguson or Goddard or Kincaid.
Okay.
One of those 3.
Okay. So we're let's just see, because in these onesie positions, you kind of see how many are taken. So, okay, so only 2 tight ends have been taken. So, there could be a little run on that. And then, of course, we have, okay, so Goddard just went. And then, so we have Ferguson, Kincaid queued up, coming at 29. James Cook's still sitting there. And then you have Jaden Reed, Brandon Cooks. I didn't even queue some of these guys, but George Pickens, Jalen Waddle. And then you get down into, some of the receivers that sometimes you should go down for. Like last week, it was Dontavian Wicks. So, okay, so Jaden Reed did just go. Brandon Cooks is pretty damn tempting.
So we're going to get one of these 2 tight ends.
Okay, right. So you want to get one of these. Okay. So you want to take a tight end here.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely take Kincaid.
Okay.
Ferguson.
If Brandon Cooks is there, I want that the last one pick. Okay. If not, anybody else do you want to queue up?
I mean, I like James Cook for sure.
Do you like
you
him
need.
over these other flex options?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of questions about those guys.
Yeah. Weather in Buffalo, health, then you get
Yeah,
into, you could get some lower owned guys, but you're taking a shot. I mean, you could double stack, Cup theoretically with like a DeMarcus Robinson. I don't hate that. Okay, is anyone Najee Harris? I say Brandon Cooks to get a piece of that Dallas offense. What do you say, Steve?
yep, I agree.
All right, let's do it. All right, so I like it. Let's look at the whole board. So in order, we went Amari Cooper, Cooper Kupp, Rashad White, Matthew Stafford, Dalton Kincaid, and Brandon Cooks. So we have obviously in the big high total game on Sunday night, we have a Stafford Kupp stack. We've got Rashad White against a bad Philly defense, Amari Cooper, who went absolutely ham against this Texans defense, Brandon Cooks in a great matchup in Dallas puts up a crap ton of points at home. And of course, Dalton Kincaid that's been getting a ton of targets lately. I love it. What do you think?
I agree. I think there's a lot of upside there, and
I'm going to switch over to DraftKings. Talk it through a little further while I switch over to DraftKings.
It's you need the touchdowns going the right way, of course, but guys like Kincaid, we've seen the upside before. Rashad White, his usage is incredible. We saw Saquon get 2 touchdowns, a lot of work against the Eagles. We saw James Conner crush them 2 weeks ago. Running backs are definitely getting there. Obviously, McCaffrey when San Francisco faced him a few weeks back. So, yeah, I mean, I have no problem against the narrative that Rashad White can have a big game against them. I think he's definitely capable of that. And no, I like Kincaid a lot, especially without Gabe Davis. And I just think that those 3 receivers, Brandon Cooks, sure, he's not CeeDee Lamb. He's going to get half the targets of Lamb, but he's also gotten some big targets for Dallas. And maybe a little bit more does go his way. And yeah, he gets that touchdown. You're going to need it. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely Dak's number 2 receiver target. Ferguson's obviously right there as well.
Yeah, no, I like that. Okay, we pulled over DraftKings and we're just doing an early look because, again, you could check out fanspeak.com. We'll have Saturday only survey, Sunday only survey, breaking down all of our favorite stacks, values, fades, contrarian plays, strategy. But let's just break it down quickly. For me, Steve, Saturday slate is a little more cut and dry, obviously, with just the 2 games. You have frigid temperatures on the Saturday night game in Kansas City. Yes, it's Tyreek's return to Kansas City, but the Kansas City offense hasn't been impressive all year. And then you have a very banged up Miami offense playing in the frigid cold, when speed is their biggest weapon and they're playing banged up in the cold. So that leans me into, of course, the first game more, but I think that's going to be everybody's, theory. So certainly stacking the second game would probably be more contrarian. But I think there's ways you can always get contrarian. Last week, I think we had the right process. I just have to say the show that we built for the short slate on this show, Steve and I both had in on Saturday and was very close. Obviously, I had a very nice cash, but was very close. We needed just basically like a 2v2. We needed more from Pittman and Xavier Hutchinson from the Texans, and Hutchinson was targeted like 4 or 5 times. So yeah, I think the process was right because Hutchinson was like 10% owned on a short slate, and you get someone like that and he gets a touchdown and all your other pieces have the fire emoji, you're doing pretty good. So we would have needed a little more from Pittman too, but the process was right on that one, and hope we can come up with the right process on this one. Sometimes even if in that case, I believe we overstacked Houston, right? We overstacked Stroud on that one. So we did Stroud, Singletary. Obviously, Nico Collins went absolutely nuclear. And so then we overstacked him with Hutchinson. And so, you do things like that and you can get some leverage even if you had the chalky stack, So given that the first game's kind of the chalky game, how do you like handling this slate?
Yeah, no, I kind of think it's the same thing. I would rather overstack the first game. Not to say if I'm going to take pieces from the second game, I want a big piece. I want a piece. And similar to last week, obviously it's a little different with the Ravens sitting. We knew they were resting some key guys. they still had some other big names out there, which made things a little bit more murky. But like if you is obviously wrong to be in on Pickens because he didn't get a catch, but just had one 3-yard carry. But if you played Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson, you got a ton of points because those guys did everything. So like go in on a couple bigger names, whether they're high priced or not. But guys who are going to get volume, but don't necessarily try and get like cheap value plays from that game because the game in and of itself might be lower scoring, a lot more punts, a lot more field goals. So, hoping that, some, tertiary receiver or cheap tight end or number 2 running back is going to be the key is just tougher to me.
Yeah. Okay. So let's hit the highlights kind of in each slate. So Saturday slate, I'll kind of hit like just kind of rapid fire. And you'll see in-depth Steve's strategy breakdown on his Saturday only and Sunday only article in the strategy section, but we'll have all these kind of things. So assume your favorite game stack is obviously Cleveland, Houston. I assume, are you in line with me that your favorite stack is Flacco, Amari Cooper, Njoku?
Yeah. 100%.
And then I assume you're willing to overstack that as well, whether it's adding Elijah Moore, adding Jerome Ford, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And then any major fades on this slate?
I probably won't play like Waddle. Just coming back from an injury, could easily tweak things again. Cold weather is never good for, injuries and things of that nature. And I just don't like that situation. I think if anyone's going to go off, it'll be Tyreek. I really don't like the Dolphins running backs. Now there's a couple, and I'm sure Jeff Wilson will still be in the mix. So, a chain, he's so explosive. We all remember the big runs, but even in that game against the Bills, to wrap up the regular season, it's not like he was some major fantasy asset. So
no, he had 13.1 DK points, even with the touchdown.
So I'm just not going to probably play the Dolphins running backs, especially if it could be a 3-man backfield. And really only play Hill from the Dolphins side.
Okay. Any other? Okay, so that was kind of the favorite stack, like a major fade is kind of those Dolphins key pieces. Who's your favorite value on the slate?
On the 2 game, I would say favorite value, if we know for sure that he's playing, probably Robert Woods. If not, probably Elijah Moore.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Because Elijah Moore, back from the concussion, obviously, and is just 4,000. So I like that.
You want a cheap piece from the Browns. Tillman has been ruled out. David Bell will probably kind of operate as a number 3 receiver for the most part. So that would be the cheap, hope and prayer guy.
I didn't realize he had such a big game in week 18 when they were sitting the starters. So
yeah.
Okay. And then would you go back to Hutchinson but that would probably be only if both Woods and Noah Brown are ruled out.
Yeah, I'm presuming Brown is ruled out. I'm guessing
he did
Woods
get back to practice today. I was surprised about that.
Yeah, I'll still be kind of shocked. It just seems very unlikely, but we'll have to see. That is obviously one to watch.
But I would just watch those injuries. Yeah.
Assuming that, I think you can play Hutchinson. It's just I expect them to score less this week. Browns do have a good defense overall, so I would rather
watch that Denzel Ward injury. I was going to fade Nico, but now with Denzel Ward potentially out,
I think Nico gets peppered.
Yeah, I like Nico now, more so than earlier when I, just that injury makes me just be open to a pain up and just overpaying in this game. The one thing I'll say is my favorite running back on the slate is probably Pacheco. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other big contrarian stands?
No.
Okay, so the contrarian stance would probably be potentially overstacking Cleveland and maybe taking like an ultra cheap piece somewhere, whether it's with Cleveland or Houston receiver, if one or both are ruled out, something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously the fades, could be obviously, an edge you're approaching as well. So, okay, so that covers the Saturday slate. Again, check out the survey on fanspeak.com. Let's just do a quick look at the Sunday slate, and then we can wrap up. So Sunday we have 3 games. Obviously, we have starting with what should be a potential blowout and potentially really, really high wins in Buffalo. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. And then, of course, the afternoon game is Green Bay at Dallas indoors. And then, of course, we've got the Sunday night hammer of Rams at Detroit, which we've talked about in both playoff best ball and battle royale. We love the Dallas stack and love that last game. So that's kind of how I'm approaching this slate. Steve, how are you approaching? And then we'll hit the highlights.
Yeah, same way. And I think because of the way Dallas's offense is going to be viewed, the way the Detroit Rams game is going to be viewed, I actually think like Allen Diggs or Allen Stiggs Kincaid are going to be very very contrarian. And also people don't like, it's like same with like Thanksgiving slates. People don't like overstacking the first game early just because it's like, okay, then you're locked in. When you have it's one thing when you have a 3-game slate and they all go off at like 425, people don't care necessarily as much, but when they're going off at these separate times, people will want, some optionality. And I would not be surprised to see Allen in particular, but also like his weapons like Diggs, Kincaid, and Shakir, guys like that. I mean, Shakir, just because he's cheaper, is going to see some more ownership carried. But I just think that's a way to get contrarian. But it is hard to get away from Dallas. It is hard way to get away. Dallas at home has been the most fantastic offense this season. And then, of course, Detroit Rams could be the ultimate fireworks of the weekend.
Right. Okay. So, so would you rank your quarterbacks then with so many good quarterbacks on this slate? Rank your top 3.
Yeah. I will go
in stacks, obviously.
Yeah. I will go with price considered. I'm going to go Dak still, just because he can match the Allen upside much more so than Stafford Goff. So I'll go Dak. Then I will go Allen, then Stafford, then Goff.
You have Allen over Stafford just because of like ownership leverage and
just upside. Like Stafford and Goff are not getting to 30 points. Like Allen can, and
unless they throw for 500 yards and you bet the 120 to 1 on FanDuel.
that part's true, but it's just with the rushing touchdowns, it's just so tough to get over 30 points if you're not doing that. And Stafford, for even when he was playing good down the stretch, was only getting low 20s this year. And sure, that might even get extended to like 25, 26 in this type of game. But same with Goff. Like, I mean, his only time over 31 was that Denver game where he threw 5 touchdowns, and it's like, and he didn't even get the 300-yard bonus. So there was a little bit more room for upside. Right. But it's like, for a team that loves to run inside the red zone, are they going to get 5 touchdowns throwing again? It's just tough to see.
Right. Yeah, I love the points in that game. There's a lot of points scored in that game, but those quarterbacks obviously don't offer anything with their legs. So no, I get it but I like those as the top 3 quarterbacks on this slate. Any massive fades in this slate?
So no massive fade. I think you do have to kind of deprioritize a couple of these higher end running backs. Honestly, I'll probably be paying down at running back in general. And just because even from a flex standpoint, like Kyren Williams and Puka are essentially the same price, 7,200, 7,300. So, and even other receivers like Diggs, Cup, if you need the other extra couple hundred, you can get there. Right. So I'm going to find ways to do that, then pay for probably Kyren Williams a lot. And same with these other running backs, the Gibbses, the Cook,
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, etc. So yeah, I'll
So
probably be
you're
paying
kind of
down.
going, in this running back area down,
Yeah,
basically. Okay.
yeah.
Aaron Jones down, basically. Okay. I like that. Any massive values that you see in this slate? I mean, Brock Wright, if Laporta is ruled out,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, potentially right at tight end. I think at receiver, Cleo Shakir is obvious.
Hmm.
I think you also have like Demarcus Robinson. I think you have Jameson Williams,
Yeah.
Josh
Yeah,
Reynolds.
I like both Jameson Williams and Demarcus Robinson in that same game, and then Shakir. So I think there's actually a lot of value
Yeah,
on this slate.
and you can even go a little thinner and deeper because those are the ones people are gonna obviously gravitate towards. But like Josh Reynolds, he still was out there every snap, every target. Like he got 7 targets against Minnesota. I know Jameson Williams didn't play that game, but their starters played the entire game. Like it's not hard for him to get that touchdown. We've seen him get the touchdowns before all year. Like same with like Sherfield for Buffalo. We saw him get the
Yeah,
touchdown.
with Gabe
If
Davis
Gabe
likely
Davis is
out.
out,
Yeah.
like he's gonna get more usage. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's thin and tougher, but if that touchdown falls the right way,
But it's always
yeah,
nice when you can get value and contrarian. That's what we almost have
yeah.
with Xavier Hutchinson at 10%, and again, 4 or
When
5
I think
targets.
I think like a Reynolds is going to be coming lower, much lower owned, or a Sherfield. Like Shakir is going to be 25-30% owned probably, if
Right.
not higher. But a
I think
Sherfield
on
might be
this, yeah,
15%.
I was just going to say, I think on this slate, people will jam at least 2 of these cheap receivers, don't you think?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
want 2 studs, a high end quarterback, probably at least one good running back.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you could be a contrarian if you did kind of like fade the higher end running backs and maybe one of the 2 cheaper receivers is more contrarian or something like that. So I like that. All right. Well, any final thoughts, Steve? And then we can get out of here for this wild card weekend.
No, I think you just build it to tell a story, but like always on short slate, don't be afraid to play a couple guys against your defense. Don't be afraid to, overstack a team.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to, not have any bringbacks. Like if you're doing Josh Allen, you don't need Steelers coming back. If you're
Right.
doing Dak and Lamb and another Dallas piece, you don't need any Green Bay coming back.
You don't have to force it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. No, I think that's excellent advice. Just to remind for short slate, those kind of throw the rules out the window, but tell a story and just make sure your lineup makes sense.
yeah.
So I think that's great. So we covered playoff basketball, we covered battle royale, we covered short slates for wildcard weekend. Again, check out the short slate surveys on fanspeak.com, the NFL betting card on fanspeak.com, all free. Betting card will be updated Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And again, short slate surveys for Saturday and Sunday. So this is going to be a fun weekend, Steve. I can't wait. So thank you so much for joining us. For Steve, I'm Meg. Good luck this weekend, and we will see you next week.